Hello, hello, and welcome to Celebrating our Authors. And today we have Miss Carol Pilkington with us. Hi, welcome. How's your reception? Is it better?
Yes, it's great.
Oh,
It's
excellent.
really great.
Okay, so I just wanted to welcome everyone to this Monday celebrating our authors, and our author of the week is Miss Carol Pinkerton, who is an astrologer.
Pilkington.
Pilkington, Pilkington, and so you're going to talk about your book, which is the Itty Bitty books. So, for those who don't know what the Itty Bitty book is, it's pretty much
Literally
a
is itty bitty.
right? It's a condensed book with 15 highlights what you got to know. And I'm going to let you go ahead and tell us about the book. Why did you write this book? And go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I One of the things about astrology is that it helped me on my path of self-discovery and raising my own consciousness. It helped me understand in a language that helped me understand how I was connected to, I would call it the larger whole, the universe. Um, in answering questions that I was asking as a small child, like, where did I come from? Why am I here? What's my purpose? What does it mean to be human? And there's a lot of um, misnomers about astrology. And that's why I wrote this book, was to dispel some of the myths about it. So it's really 15 key questions people ask about astrology. And one of the questions is it because of the planets that our life is the way it is? And what I would say to that is no, the planets do not control our life, but based on the decisions that we make, we are influenced. There, I would say that there's a mutual correspondence between the heavens and the decisions that we make in our life. And from that perspective, I feel that I get messages. I know that this is might be a little bit woo-woo for some people, but even if you come from a religious background and you speak to God, so to speak, well, the heavens are all within that, right? The planets, everything are within that sphere
Right,
of influence,
right.
correct?
Yes.
And so there's a mutual correspondence between the heavens and how we are living our life here on earth. And so I that's the simplest way I can put it.
Well, we,
So I am influenced by the planets. I am also communicating with the universe.
I'm a metaphysician, so I'm right there with you, and I totally believe it. But it's interesting because we all have that connection. Because this is our new, what I call the evolution of human potential, whatever. But it's interesting how everyone picks their own way of communicating, and you chose astrology as a way to connect. So, how does that work as far as astrology and whatever the studies, whatever you need to do to learn about
Yeah,
that?
yeah, that's a great question. And what astrology can help us understand are the cycles of life that we're in and the lessons that we're here to learn. So the birth chart is a snapshot of where the planets were at the time of our birth. And that's why the time of our birth is really important. And so it the there the chart is broken up into 12 segments. And within those 12 segments, the planets reside. different segments of those of that chart, and it's those areas of the chart that have certain lessons, so to speak, if you will, that we are here to learn and concentrate on. You know, a lot of people talk about, well, why is this house empty? Why is that segment of the chart empty? It's not that there's nothing going on per se, it's just that that might not be the area of life that we are here to specifically focus on, where there might be planets in another segment of the chart. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
I know, growing up, of course, the newspaper always had your, horoscope of the day, the week, the month. Um, and even though people might say they don't believe, they still read it because to them they feel like it's kind of the word is not premonition, but it's more like it gives them some kind of a feel like it's like a help. It's a different type of communication. So it's also very good to have a very good astrologer because that makes a big difference. So if someone needs to or would like to connect with you, let's say, this is your field, and someone wants to reach out, what information do they need to give you? Like birthdays,
They need
signs.
their
Um,
yeah, they'll need their exact time of birth, which they can find on their birth certificate usually,
right,
or sometimes our parents have been given by the hospital the mimeograph of our
right,
birth record. It'll
right
definitely be in there,
there.
and the date of birth and where a person was born. That those are the three pieces of information that I need
Where they were
to.
born, also.
Yeah, yeah, because
Oh,
it's based on latitude and longitude where you were born.
so tell us what the 15 steps are.
Well,
Well,
um, one is really what I find interesting is about the separation of science and and the church. Back in the late 1700s is when it was de- declared that the church would have domain over our souls and science would have domain over the heavens. And that from that point on is when astrology began to be seen as taboo.
okay, wow,
Yeah. And so that separation created literally a separation for us at a subliminal level to the heavens,
right.
so that we became fragmented. And back in those centuries, people relied on the heavens to understand where they were and where they literally how they were connected to everything.
Correct.
And so that, and also what people don't know is that the Vatican has the largest library of astrology in the world.
They do, but they don't promote it, do they?
That's right.
Ha ha.
That's right.
That's
It's fascinating,
amazing.
isn't it?
That is very fascinating. I would not have. I would expect those were one of the books that were burned back in the days, right?
Right.
Wow.
Hmm.
So what else?
And so,
Go ahead.
yeah. So, what else was happening back then is that um, whatever happened to the king happened to its subjects. And so, astrology was only for the rulers and such. And its astrology did not actually come into the personal or individual domain, if you will, until so many centuries later. And then doctors and farmers and people like that started using astrology. And so it began from that point on, it's began to infiltrate and permeate into the public sector,
Right.
the private and public sector, so that people became, they wanted to know how things were going to affect their life. But
Right.
that's predictive astrology, and how I use astrology is so different. It's really about helping people understand about their own nature, about cycles in their life, and understanding the nature of the cycles that we're in. So it helps to provide us a deeper understanding
Mm-hmm.
of what we're here to do. And what I mean by that is giving us a larger purpose than just what we do in the world.
Right.
Sure, it's going to translate through that, but it helps us understand that we have a larger contribution to
Correct.
the universe, if you will.
That is true. It's interesting because I watch a lot of History Channel and stuff like that, and realize that they still can't figure out how the pyramids were built. But what they do see is how it's directly lined up with the stars and the moons and the planets. So it has a deeper meaning besides just, a burial ground, which now they're realizing may not actually be a burial ground for anyone. It was maybe for telling time or season, or it has something beyond that I don't think we have actually tapped into yet. But with astrology, you could probably explain a little bit more about that.
Yeah, well, we are affected by the moon. I mean, just the woman's cycle alone, we are affected throughout the 28 to 29 days of our cycle. So we as women are most in tuned with that kind of cycle.
Right.
But we are all affected actually by it. People talk about the full moon and how
Right.
things seem to be all chaotic and wonky. And people talk about Mercury retrograde.
Right.
It's be People say it's because Mercury is retrograde that this is happening. No, actually, what it means, the Mercury retrograde, is that we're being our attention is being brought to something that we should have been paying attention to, but now it's time. Now it's in your face and you have to pay attention to it. And it's also, Mercury retrograde is about rethinking and reevaluating things that we have thought about doing or saying. And sometimes it brings back relationships from the past to complete those cycles, if you will.
Cycles. Yes.
So it's really a wonderful period of time to recalibrate.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm going through one of those right now. It's interesting because I was kind of feeling a little irritable the last couple of days, the last week, and I couldn't pinpoint what it was. And I just felt like,
Mhm.
"Grr." And finally, I said, okay, it's time to reconnect. So, what I felt was disconnected from my soul, from my spirit, from my whatever, my
Mhm.
path, what I call my soul's path. So, of course, it's like, let's go back into our meditation, let's do our journaling, let's breathe into it. And, so I'm glad we're talking today because it's kind of giving me a little bit of like, all right, I'm not going crazy.
That's right. That's one of the things that I do love about astrology is that it helps us tune in to what really is going on and to feel into the environment, if you will,
Right.
and to help us understand what's going on.
So if someone picks up this book, what exactly will they get out of it? And is there something that will help them um, maybe understand more of how we interact with the stars and the moon? Or, just
Sure. What I found about this book is that it helps us understand what astrology actually is. Um, and like I was just explaining before about the fact that cause of a planet or period that the planet is going through, that things happen in our life, but it's a
okay.
correspondence to us understanding what's happening in our life as it relates to our communication, our relationships, and things like that. Like Venus is about our relationships, how we interact and relate to one another and to our own life. And so when we just came through a Venus retrograde during the summer, and people were going through relationship challenges, maybe, or reevaluating their own values as it relates to being in a relationship. So, those kinds of things.
Right. So, when people ask to have a reading, um, they take it very literal. Um, do they still have a say? Meaning, I know people hear it and they say, "Oh, this is what's going to happen, and there's nothing I can do about it." Where, as a teacher, do you say, "No, this is not written in stone. You still have to participate somehow." Because we're all co-creators. We get to create our life. So how do you explain that this is just what, like kind of a stepping stone, but it's not, where you're supposed to be, and how to navigate that? So how would you pass that on to our viewers?
Yes, it's not, it's about raising our own consciousness and helping us understand that not everything is totally fated. When we bring the unconscious conscious to the consciousness, that's when we have more free will, because you really are tapping into the question of free will versus fate. And that's a huge, huge conversation in and
Wow.
of itself.
Yes. Wow.
And yeah, and transferable astrology is what I practice. And it is about understanding the larger picture and how we fit into it, and the decisions that we make, and how we understand what we are here to learn gives us more choice. The more conscious we become, the more choice we have, and the highest potential we have to live our chart. It's
Right.
like we are in the center of the wheel,
Right.
and what we open ourselves up to and become aware of, the more we can better utilize those pieces of the chart to enhance our life, our relationship, and fulfill our purpose here to the larger universe, because we all matter. I think that's so important for people understand that we matter. We matter simply because we are here physically, and
Right.
there's no getting around that. But
Right.
how we live and how we respond to life does matter as well, and how we impact one another. And the chart and astrology can help us understand that.
I like that you use the word enhance, meaning to make it better, so that people can understand that even if things are going good, it can always get a little bit better. And this is just kind of a push to keep you in the right direction. And I think we all every now and then need a reminder where we're at and where we're going. And we do get caught up in life and we forget. So yes, I could see this being as a vehicle also to help you connect with your inner self, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's a
Okay.
great tool for self-understanding and understanding others, because it is about self and other. And when we
Right.
learn how to communicate better and understand another's way of communicating, things can be smoother. Our relationships can be smoother. Our ability to be in the world can be more pleasant and
Right.
joyful.
Right. Um, I keep thinking that we in the past, and I'm talking past, I'm going to go back cave days, whatever. Um, Everything they did not understand was considered a god. So we had, the sun god and the moon god and the star god and the whatever rain god, and whatever was not understood was turned into a god because they worshiped them. and they worshiped them because they understood it was a change of season, or it was a change of, and they understood the tides. And then, of course, we got into the whole industrial area. We got lost. But I feel like we're going back into that phase. I think we're trying to reconnect again with, grounding, nature, the heavens, like you said. I think we're kind of slowly moving back there. Um, what do you think?
I agree. When we can get back into the wonder and the mystery of life, oh my goodness, and to rest in
Right?
the unknown,
Right?
it can make life so much easier and so much more powerful and empowering. We live in uncertainty anyway. So if we can really try to embrace that life is uncertain, that we live in a groundless state already, and to embrace that, oh my goodness, the
Wouldn't it be
possibilities,
amazing? I know.
yes, it would be so amazing because that's where the richness of life lives.
Where there's no lack, there's no scarcity, there's no lack. It's all abundance, prosperity, and happiness, collaboration, harmony. And I think people think that's not possible, but it is very possible. But we can look for it on the outside. We have to look for it starting from inside. Each individual person is responsible for reaching their own level of harmony, happiness, whatever. And once each person takes care of themselves, then the world is kind of fit together like a jigsaw puzzle. Going out there and fighting the war of this and the fighting the war of that, it's not going to work. It all starts from the inside. What's your opinion on that
Yes,
part?
exactly. Conflict begins and ends with us. That's a hard one to embrace because people
Right?
want to generally want to say, "No, it's the fault is over there. No, it's because of this." Mm-mm. All of it
Well,
is
people,
within.
it's within. And and when they say, well, would I wish something bad on myself? And it's like you didn't wish it consciously, but indirectly you did. So pretty
Mhm.
much if we know that we're creating our own life, then whatever is happening, you're creating it. Whether it's in your mind, whether it's with what you're saying and not paying attention to what you're saying, who you're talking to, what you're surrounded by. All of that affects the outcome of what's happening in your life. It's not individual, and it's not just one thing. There's a lot of little connecting dots that gets you to say, well, I'm abundant and prosperous. Why I'm not making money? Where else are you not paying attention to something? So,
Exactly.
Karen, where can we call you, meet you, participate in something that will give us more information, or we can. I'm sure we can get your book on Amazon. Correct?
Yes,
Okay. So,
absolutely. I
in
have
most
3
of the,
books on Amazon.
you have three.
Y Yes.
Right. So one is astrology, but the other one was what?
The other one is the WPN Experts book, collaboration book, and another one is the Itty Bitty Book of Words. So there's 3 itty bitty books. You just have to put in itty bitty books, Carol Pilkington, and they're all coming up.
They're all going to pop right up. And as I'm finishing build out my website, there will also be on readingroom.affidianinc.com, where you'd be able to find Carol's books there as well, and her upcoming courses and her classes that she's offering. So at affidianinc.com, we're going to have all of that stuff uploaded and ready to go before the end of the week. And so you'll be hearing some more about Carol and astrology. And do you do readings as well, like one-on-one
Oh, of
readings?
course. Yeah, very much
Do you?
so. They can reach me at carolpilkington.com/astrology, or they can reach me through my calendar system
Okay.
and book an astrology reading there. Um, they can
Do you have
also go ahead.
now? As do you have like a I don't know, a Facebook or a YouTube, something where you're doing something on a regular basis that they can,
I
at
have
least
a YouTube channel, yes. It's, just look for Carol Pilkington.
on YouTube. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have a specific day that you do any live news stuff, or is this just streaming? I mean, on demand.
No, I don't have any live stuff coming up at the moment.
It's okay. We're gonna create something.
That sounds
Yeah,
great.
good. Do you have any last minute words for our viewers?
I
I'm
would
gonna just
say, you know, astrology really is a tool for understanding oneself and understanding the world around them. And it helped me through my journey to answer questions that I knew couldn't be answered through traditional means. And it has been a compliment to my own spiritual journey and being able to understand life. So I hope you'll contact me. I also have a free gift, which is really wonderful. It's a quiz that you can take. You'll get answers right into your inbox. It's called the Soul Filled Quiz. And I can put that in the chat if you'd like.
you put it in the chat for me.
Okay. There you go.
Okay, we got it. See if I can upload it here right away.
Thank you.
Let's do this. Alrighty. Oh my goodness, I'm
Yay.
becoming so savvy with this. I'm so excited. So again, Carol, thank you so much for coming on today. It's always fun to hear the process that, what makes someone sit there and write a book. And I'm always still impressed with anyone that took the time to sit down and write a book. It takes time, a lot of dedication, a lot of, the word is not stress, but a lot of anticipation because you want it to be good. You want it to come out right. So there's a lot of work that goes into it. But I'm always saying, kudos. And that's why we had to celebrate our author and congratulations for being chosen as the author of the week of the
Thank
Affidian magazine. And again, thank you for being here on board with us.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Karina.
Sure. And to everyone else, thank you so much for tuning in, and you will be hearing from us again. Bye. Thank you for watching Reading Room, celebrating our authors. For more articles, go to magazine.affidianinc.com.